We're live. We're live. Yay. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whenever you're watching this. I am freaking exhausted. This is Untangled, and we are on episode 58. And in my Untangled series, which I've been doing for over a year, I talk about all the things that happen in the human experience that we want to ignore, deny, pretend, push away. God forbid we should feel uncomfortable, irritated, sad, angry, rageful, all the things that we're not supposed to feel, all those things that are called negative or low vibrational, especially if you're in the spiritual community. Better not feel these things. All the attachments, labels, and stories. We talk about all of that. I share what I am experiencing and going through in my own awakening, evolution. There's no holds barred, no hold barred, no holds barred, nothing held back, no pretending, no trying to be anything other than the absolute humbled student that I am in my own journey and process, for the hopes that it somehow allows you to feel more okay in what you are experiencing, because you're none of it. You know, you aren't your emotions, you're not the thoughts, you're not the relationships, you're not the judgments, you're not what other people think, you're not, none of it. And what an absolute humble game that we're in, that we are. Thank you so much, Martin, for the super chat. Again, um, one of the greatest gifts that I think that we can give ourselves and humanity right now is uh, being the messy you that you are. What are your flaws? How vulnerable and honest are you about your flaws? Why do we hide our flaws? Why do we pretend that we are something that we're not? I don't know. Because it's not okay, because people will judge us, because it will look a certain way. None of us are perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. Except that in the eyes of all that ever is, in the eyes of God, in the eyes of Source, we're absolute perfection. In your own eyes of awareness, you're absolute perfection. But in the human experience, you're a shit show. You're messy as fuck. You're messy. You got tons of what we would consider flaws. Who cares? We all do. What's next? What's new? What else? What else do you got, right? And there's such a huge amount of stimuli out there right now in the external world it's just too loud for me right now, to be honest. It's how to be and how to think, and what stories to follow, and what stories to look at, and what to focus on, and what to eat and what not to eat, and what to breathe and what not to breathe, and what supplements to take, and how to fix this, and it's just like, shut the fuck up, everyone, just shut up, please, God. Where is the absolute stillness in all of this? It's too much. It's so much stimuli. Um, and I think that is why there is a deep, deep pull within me of quieting more and more, getting still more and more. If you have that luxury, that is what I've been doing every single freaking day, like right now, is quieting the external world. It's a lot. And every single thing is a story. Everything is a story. It's all story. Someone else's story, now your story. It's all real. It's all relative. So on one level, it's very true, and it creates emotions, and it creates suffering, and it creates the need and the passion to change and to fix and to figure out. I am exhausted with all of that right now. And I feel like I've been exhausted for almost a year. needing to get more and more quiet, more and more still. And honestly, the last the last week, last 4 or 5 days, more than that, but the last week I've been putting first stillness, which is just sitting, just sitting at a park bench, sitting on by a tree, sitting in my house with no end result, um, no outcome. And there are moments where I'm just so content, so content. And then when I'm in these moments of just content, I'm just good. I'm just good. I think to myself, well, is the world still having all of their chaotic moments? Is there still a lot of chaos in the world? Yeah. Are there still things in your own inner world, Lori, that need to be looked at? Yeah. Do you still have limiting beliefs that are holding you back from certain things? Sure. You know, do you have things that you have to go and do in the future, next month, next week? Yep. But right here, right now, are you content? Yeah. Is everything okay right here, right now? Yep. Do I need to do anything right here, right now? No. Nope. And how often do we bring ourselves to that state? How often are you just sitting? How often do you just do nothing if you have the ability to do that? We all essentially have some time to do that. Every one of us takes a shower or a bath. At some point, can you be in stillness during that time? Can you recognize that no matter what you're doing or thinking or feeling or saying, the world still goes on? Chaos is still happening. Corruption is still happening. Greed is still happening. But how are you being? What's calling you? Who are you? Who's the one that's staying busy? Who's the one that's distressed, in stress, anxious, irritable, angry? Who is he or who is she? Who's the one that wants to argue for all the limitations that you're experiencing? Who's the one that wants to fight for specific um, rights and truths? And who's the one that has these intense thoughts throughout your day? Is it you? Is it you? Or is it the role you're playing, the persona, the personality, the ego, which is real on one level? But is there another part of you that's watching you? Is there another part of you right here, right now, even sitting here, that's absolute, that is God or source or whatever you want to call it? I don't know. You tell me. The faster and faster the world becomes, the slower and slower that we're going to want to be. We're going to want to slow down. We're going to feel the need to slow down. If you think about constantly replaying the past and how it could have turned out, that is a very torturous state to be in because it's done, right? And so the more that you can show yourself the you that you think that you are still playing in the past, still trying to change the past, should have done this differently, could have done it like this. It's literally pointless. Thank you, Denise, for the super chat. It's it makes no sense. None. Every moment is done. This is now done. And this is now done. You know, it's all done. It's all complete. And then there's a new moment. And then there's a new moment. You can't, even if you had the magic tools, you cannot go back into the past. Doesn't make any sense. It's impossible. You also cannot go into the future. It's impossible. It's truly impossible to believe that you can predict what's coming. A lot of people will say they can, but then you are creating attachment or suffering. Thanks, the Irish priestess, for the super chat. The most empowered state that you and I can be in is right here. The freest state that we can be in is right here. Anxiety is trying to figure out the future. Nobody wants the anxiety. Nobody wants the stress. Nobody wants the depression. Sit in stillness more. See what arises. See what thoughts arise. Thank you, Richard, for the super chat. If you sit in stillness and just listen to the external sounds, what do you hear? Feels harder every time. Keep going. Keep being. Stillness will set you free because stillness brings you into your natural state. If you think about what you listen to or what you watch or what you hear or conversations you have, pay attention to them. They're quite beautiful, but pay attention to them because um, most conversation is about either a past or a future. What someone did, what someone said, what may be happening, what could happen, what you need to look forward to, what you need to understand about what happened, how you need to view what just occurred, what you need to do with it in the future, um, how you need to move forward with this information, um, what you did to me yesterday, what you're going to do, whatever it is, it's all out of non presence. So, first, just pay attention to that. Pay attention to everything that you are consuming throughout your day and where it takes you. Don't change it, just be aware of it. Be aware of the conversations you have. Wow. Is this conversation absolute presence? And there's no judgment around any of this, meaning, oh my God, I should or shouldn't. It just is. But the process of or the journey of awakening, the journey of evolution is the light gets brighter and brighter. And the only way for us to recognize that we are awake is that we start to see everything that has been in the shadows, quieted, hushed. So every conversation you have gets louder. Every emotion gets more intense. Every thought gets louder. You become more conscious of your shadow or your ego playing in the world very loudly. You are aware of others, their beautiful egos playing very loudly in the world. You recognize more and more of your own judgments of people when you're out and about. Everything just gets a lot more loud, a lot more intense. There's an intensity that arises. And then there's a stillness amongst it all. How do you own a business and be in presence? Well, I own a business. And what I can say, Shannon, about presence is that there is a deeper trust that presence is always showing me what is next, and yet I still take action. And so there becomes more of an awareness around my action state, my doing state. Um, am I doing and creating? And this is just something to be aware of, right? Again, I would be very cautious of should, shouldn't, good, bads, right? But am I aware of what I'm feeling when I'm creating something to bring in new clients? Am I in fear? Am I in anxiety? Am I in stress? Or am I in absolute trust? What is arising in this present moment? There's no creativity coming through. I can't create anything. That's right here, right now. I'm not saying in my mind, I can't create anything. The experience of right here, right now is that there is no creation occurring. Now, I can argue with that and start trying to force creation, i.e., force myself to create something that I can present to the world to make money, or I could trust what is, right? And then I can slowly take action. Okay, well, I need to bring in more clients. Okay, that just arose. I need to bring in more clients. That's also a thought, but that's an interesting thought. Okay, you're just being curious with everything. How would I like to bring in more clients? Well, I'd like to bring in more clients with a sense of ease, not forcing. Okay, well, what would that look like? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, well, maybe I'll do it a little bit differently. Maybe this time I will do this, 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 this. You want to try to be in presence as much as possible while still taking action. The opposite of that is, oh my God, I don't have enough clients. I need to make sure that I get more clients. I need to have 15 clients this month. I had 62 clients last month. How am I going to be able to reach that same number next month? So you're kind of you're like on a hamster wheel in thought instead of what is present, what is right here, right now. And the more that you can slow yourself down, the more you'll be able to feel what is actually present. The more you'll notice a judgment around it. The more you'll notice yourself trying to do something about it. It's all just awareness. But being successful, creating a business, being in your own entrepreneurship, can be just as successful, if not more, in stillness and presence. There is this belief, this thought of, um, if I practice stillness and awareness and presence, that my business will go to shit. That's just the ego identified with that story. It's only true if you believe that to be true. And also, if you haven't actually practiced stillness and presence, you have no idea. So you just threw out a reality that you've never actually experienced. So you just created something that isn't actually true. So, really paying attention to what we are believing to be true. Stress is not optional. I would say stress is 1,000,000,000% optional. All stress arises from thought. So, my question would be, what are the thoughts that are creating stress? You know, it's so crazy how what I've been noticing more and more is how by simply slowing down in life, my life has been getting more and more peaceful. I have not been trying to find peace. I have not been trying to find calm. I have not been trying to detach myself from any attachments I have. I have not been trying to bring myself to presence. I have not been trying to get out of thoughts, get out of emotions, get out of anything at all. What have I been doing? Sitting in stillness. The other day, I was sitting on a park bench with a friend of mine in the redwoods. And for no reason whatsoever, I didn't do anything. I didn't put myself in a state. I didn't close my eyes and like zen myself somewhere. I just sat for a few minutes. And all of a sudden, I was in such a high frequency state that I felt like I was on a high dose of mushrooms. I was in an absolute altered state of reality. Now, I definitely wouldn't call it awareness because awareness feels very different, but my entire frequency had completely shifted. Everything was 10 times more alive. I could hear things from a really far distance. I could smell onion rings from the restaurant across the street that cooks all kinds of stuff, not just onion rings, but I specifically felt could smell the onion rings. I was vibrating. I was hearing things. It was, and again, nothing. I didn't do anything. I didn't try to get there. Um And my point of that conversation is that the more and more that I sit in stillness throughout my day, as often as I can, whether I'm in a car, in my yoga studio doing my yoga, um, making dinner, being in stillness doesn't mean you have to sit and do nothing. Being in stillness means that as you are doing everything that you are doing, you are still, you're present, you're breathing. You've just slowed down in whatever you're doing. And the more you do that, the more you realize you don't have to work for anything. You don't have to raise your vibration. You don't have to there's no efforting in your natural state. You just have to become aware of the natural state, which is in you, as you, every moment of every day. Every second of every day is your natural state. And if there isn't an experience of that, it's because you are caught in the illusion of thought. It's that simple. And the power of stillness is that you find yourself with or without thought, it doesn't matter. There is this slowing down where anything is allowed. Anything can come in and out. Any emotion can be felt. I can think about the future or the past. None of it matters because stillness is the absolute. Stillness doesn't hold the past. It doesn't hold the future. It doesn't hold thought. It just watches it all. Stillness doesn't try to be still. Stillness doesn't try to move into higher vibrational states. Stillness will watch some sort of story unraveling. Stillness will watch a story on YouTube and just watch it and watch what is unraveling, feel what's unraveling, feel the emotion that arises within the body. Feel the pull to say something, feel the pull to get angry or upset, feel the pull to want to yell. That's stillness. You're just watching everything arise. And if there isn't stillness in your everyday, right, this kind of like flatlining contentment almost, then there is a thought that's got you. And most of us have thoughts that get us all day long. Why am I like this? Why is this happening? How do I get out of this? Why did this person say this? Um, I need to make sure this is happening. I need to make sure I have enough money. I need to do this. Why? I wish I was doing more of this. These people are doing this. Why am I not experiencing what they're experiencing? I wonder what it's going to be like when I go out to dinner tonight with this person that I don't really want to hang out with. I wish this person wouldn't call me anymore. These are all just thoughts that come and go all day long. And for some of you, you grab them and then you just run with them, which means that they play in the background of your day. And then they are creating the reality in front of you. And the key to all of this is to start to pay acute attention to those thoughts that play in the background that are loud or not so loud, over and over and over and over again. And stillness will allow you to see it. Stillness allows you to break free. Breaking free means that you are free of the mind, of thought. It doesn't mean that you don't make a life that's good for you, that you don't set goals, that you don't fight for rights or educate yourself or any of that. It just means that you recognize that there is always this sense of stillness within all of it. There is this open-hearted awe kind of experience that eventually we have with everything. And until then, we will be shown what pulls us out of that aligned stillness state. presence will be shown. We watch somebody on YouTube and it just creates this rage and anger, and then we get pulled into the story. And then we're in the story, arguing the story. We get lost and caught up in the story. Wow, okay. All that did was show you in that moment what pulled you out of stillness or presence, which is great. It's beautiful. The flip side to that is that you would watch all of that on YouTube and you would just be the observer, feeling whatever emotion, but you would still be in presence, in stillness. You would just be watching you go through it. Oh, look, I just got upset. Or, oh, look, I just wanted to go down this rabbit hole. Oh, look. Wow, look at how that's happening. Wow, look at how that's happening. True freedom is not getting rid of things. It's not. True freedom is not getting a new president in the United States or getting people to see how you see or changing the world the way you want it to be changed. It's actually suffering. True freedom is recognizing that everything that you're in, that everything that you are experiencing is stems from thought. All of it. And when you're really truly free of thought, what ends up happening is that you watch the different thoughts come in. I'd love to vote for a new president. Wow, okay. You Lori wants to vote for a new president. I really think that this person is going to be able to do much more than the other one. Oh, that's a thought. Huh, interesting. Is that absolute truth? No. It's just a thought that I'm holding as a story that I'm going to walk down, perhaps. I need everybody else to see it the way I do in order for this world to change. Really? If you hold on to that thought, which is a thought you have, how does it make you feel? How do you know that it's absolutely true? What if there's something more magical happening that you actually have no control over? What if what actually changes the entire world is you listening? What if what actually changes the entire world is compassion? A true, true understanding and compassion. Thank you for the super chat, V. What if that's what changes the world? The more that humanity can become aware, present, still, awake, divinity, true nature, the more that humanity can fall back into that, the faster the world will shift back into that. So the question is, it starts with you. And it starts with you inside your body, and the beingness, the embodiment. How safe do you feel in the world? How content do you feel in the world? How peaceful do you feel in the world? How humble do you feel? Thank you so much, Mikey, for the super chat. And as I ask these questions, the next question will be, what is the thought that arises? How safe do you feel in the world? How free do you feel in the world? How much compassion do you feel in the world? What needs to be different in your life? What needs to change? What needs to change in order for you to feel calm or to feel safe or to be at peace or to have compassion? Pay attention to the answers to those questions. Those are thoughts. No, I'm not asking what needs to be fixed because, well, you could ask yourself what needs to be fixed for sure, Bridget. What do you think needs to be fixed? Because the beautiful awareness around that is that nothing needs to be fixed. Everything just needs to be seen. Nothing actually needs to be fixed. That's the trap. Once I fix this, I will feel dot, dot, dot. Even change. What needs to change? What needs to change? If it changes, then what? Then what do you feel? What do you experience? What do you have? The deeper question, Bridget, is what is right here, right now? What's arising right now? What's in your reality right now? What's happening right now? What are you experiencing right now? What is right now? Just say it to yourself. Just say it to yourself. You don't have to tell us. It's interesting. It's true, Jen, on one level that change needs to happen, right? On one level, change does need to happen. If people changed the way they were being, would there be less cruelty on the planet? On one level, sure. Would there be less oppression? But do you have control over how that person is going to be? Do you really have control over how that person's going to be? So the way that we can change the world is continue to express or speak what is your absolute truth with an open heart, but a deeper understanding that you're not in charge of changing anyone. Step out from that place. You have no control over changing someone. You just show up with an open heart, and you show up with that compassion, and you show up with your what is your truths, which at the end of the day are still just your own thoughts creating your reality. What's the unbearable part, Alexandra, of your life? I'm live. I'm very slow in this live. I'm very slow. There's not much going on, although there's a lot going on. What's interesting is sometimes the less you talk, the more is received in my experience. No, I'm not holding back tears at all. I'm just very quiet and still. So then where does changing thoughts to change reality come into play without changing what is? Well, first you want to be aware of the thought, Jennifer. So what's the thought that you want to change? What's the thought you want to change? Let's start there. I am not drinking green tea. I don't like green tea. I'm drinking water. Water, 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 water. Yeah, I'm so chill right now. I literally am like, what do you guys want to talk about? I'll tell you something that happened the other night. Um, uh, uh, um, Polarity and duality are the same thing, opposites. Um, okay. So I'll share one story that's been changing. My life has been changing quite freaking dramatically lately. Um, I'm grieving the loss of my son who decided to stay with his dad over me because of unhealthy influence, gaslighting, and manipulation. So, what do you want to change? Relationship with a dying alcoholic, a stupid place to live. Is it a stupid place to live? Or are you just living in that space? Is it a stupid place? Happy birthday. Um, that belief. It doesn't need to become a positive, Jennifer. I'm grieving the loss of my son who decided to stay with his dad over me because of unhealthy influence, gaslighting, and manipulation. Just write that down. Write it down. Put it on a piece of paper. Write down that thought. Look at that thought. Get curious with that thought. So how would you stop evil, Jen? How do we stop evil? You see, Jennifer, if you try to change that thought, there's a part of you that is and try to change it into a positive thought, then you are dismissing what is. You're arguing with what is. So you first have to just look at what is. Look at what your thought is creating, this belief, and get curious with that. Question it and not just go, "Oh, I'm going to change it to a positive thought," because it's still going to be there. Okay, so if you don't allow the grief, what's gonna happen with the grief? What is so of course you allow grief because that's what's arising. You allow all of it because it is what is arising, but then you get curious as to the thoughts. If there was any other way that it was supposed to happen, it would have happened that way. This is happening the way it's exactly divinely supposed to happen, even if I don't want it to happen this way. Well, it happened because my ex is gaslighting, unhealthy, blah, blah, blah. That's the thought you want to look at. Radical acceptance. Man, I'm so tired. It's crazy how tired I am. I'm so tired. That's the part I've been forgetting to accept this. I take on a lot of guilt too due to my part and shoulda, coulda, woulda, blah, blah. If any other thing should have happened, it would have happened. This is exactly what is happening. This is exactly what is happening. You're arguing with reality, and then you're making up reasons for this reality, which is fine. You also don't need to make up the excuses or the reasons why. Pay attention to the why. Well, he's this and he's that and he's that. Question those. Look at those. Observe those. Doing the Byron Katie 4 questions, the work, right? Who would you be if you didn't have those thoughts about your ex? It's very, very difficult to say you need to accept this. You just have to accept it. Like, fuck off. I'm not accepting it. I don't know how to accept. Right, exactly. Because you don't do acceptance. Acceptance arises. Acceptance just is because it's what is. Acceptance is presence. Acceptance is you being in what is right now. That's acceptance. I need to accept is like, uh, it's like, you're putting on a shoe and you're like, I need to put on this shoe. Well, go ahead and try to put the shoe on. You're already putting the shoe on. No, I need to put the shoe on. The shoe's already being put on, you weirdo. What are you doing? Being in what is the acceptance. You don't need to accept. If you try to accept, it's gonna pull you out of what is. You're putting your pajamas on at night. You're like, "I need to put my pajamas on. It's bedtime." You're putting your pajamas on. It's what's happening. That's the shift between the one that's in control, the ego, and the one that's just in life, which is the part of you that is that soul, that spirit, that essence. It's just watching and allowing. It's the one that's in absolute stillness and peace and calm. It's the one that knows that this is here and then this is here and then this is here and then this is here. Yeah, acceptance is truly just what is. Thank you, Jennifer, for the super chat. That means we are in the illusion as non duality. We are good if we see ourselves as that which is true. I mean, you could say that stillness is part of polarity or duality, sure, because absolute awareness isn't stillness. So, sure, you could say that. I mean, if you really want to go out there, awareness is none of it. And yet, awareness is all of it. Yeah, radical acceptance. I've been having stomach aches the last couple days, me too. I'm not sleeping well. I've been having a really hard time sleeping. Give me a couple of words of how you guys are feeling before we go. Somebody else talk. Can somebody else talk right now? Extreme exhaustion is just extreme exhaustion. I saw some otters. It was amazing. I feel knackered. I've been sleeping good. Yay, good for you. Feeling very relaxed. I've been feeling great. My leg hurts. I'm tired. In stillness while being present with you. Back pain. I want to break free from my aunt and mother as soon as possible. Impatient. Disconnection and pain. Bored. Wanting more. A beautiful baby bird just hung nearby a crowd of us at work. I love that. Bloated. Love you. Discombobulated. Man, you guys, I just don't have a lot right now. I wish I had more to share, but just not arising. Stepped on a wasp. Why would you want to remain in silence and feel all the emotions of your trauma when you can skate through life with loads of fun times? Such a good question, Thea. Um, it's a really good question. I don't mother freaking know, except that when you start to awaken out of the dream, out of the illusion, it still is fun. There is still amazing fun to be had always. There's always skating and dancing and arcade games and laughter and birthday parties and all of that. Like life is still life. Life is still gorgeous and amazing and miraculous in every single way. But fortunately or unfortunately, many times when we are moving through an awakened state, which means that we are breaking free from illusion, which means you're breaking free from thought, which nobody has to do. You can stay in thought and still be happy in life. You just don't realize that you're in thought, which is great. Nobody needs to realize they're in thought. Nobody needs to realize that thoughts are controlling their reality. But when you start to awaken, it's possible that you start feeling ways of being that you had never really felt before. You start to feel a sense of calm or peace that you'd never felt before. You start to feel this sense of awe in life that has never been felt in the same way as jumping around and having fun in life. And what grabs people in the process of awakening is those feelings that they have had or those experiences that they have had, um, that are untouched by the way we normally live. And yet, the way we normally live can be a lot of fun. There is something to be said about not recognizing what you're in. You know, um, but the reason that I am so committed to this process of awakening or this evolutionary process more and more, no matter how uncomfortable it can get at times, is because our natural state of being is free. And what that means is that no matter what I am experiencing in any moment, I'm free. I'm at calm. I am in peace. And so that is not necessarily related to why would you do this if you can just go out and have fun all the time. This is a deeper sense of beingness, finding and being the natural state of your divinity. And in so doing, there's laughter and joy in so much, and there's playfulness in so much. But now you get to walk through life free from what has rattled you. So most people that are in life, um, are unconsciously trying to do things to make sure that they feel okay or that they are happy or they feel safe or that they feel like they're in a controlled state and if anything small rattles them, which is just life, they will do whatever they can to bring themselves back into some sort of state that feels like like they have control over it. They'll numb it, they'll pretend it's not there, they'll stay busy, they'll find fun things to do. Nothing wrong with that. You can live the most miraculous life ever in that. But for me, when I started to access pure awareness, our natural divinity, right here, right now in our bodies, I realized this is the only thing that matters. And that there is a way of being on this planet that is fucking out of this world and so free, so real, so true that everything else is the illusion. And when you start to awaken into that, it can take you into really, really, so to speak, dark places, which is why 99% of humanity has not reached their natural state of being, because it requires us to unravel, peel back, and look at all of the ways that we have tried to mask or be in this physical reality in some sort of controlled state or programmed state full of thought that you either hear or don't hear, emotions that you feel or don't feel, experiences that you are allowing or not allowing. So there's this navigation of life. Regardless of where you're at, there is always fun. There is always amazing things to be experienced. But what I would say around awareness and around awakening is that you start to feel that fun and that joy in the most mundane moments. Right now, I can sit under a tree and be in just as much awe and joy and fun than, um, going down rapids in a river in Idaho. The more that you start to awaken into your divine state, your natural state of being, the less it matters what you're doing. Because everything is the joy, the peace, the fun is in life in each moment. Not when you are in suffering or resistance or in thought, but when you're in presence and in stillness. And I think that's why when you get that itch of awareness, when you find it, when you hit it, when you realize, holy shit, this is what life is all about, fuck, then you will be shown in every moment of stillness what needs to see to break you free. Which is what you would consider not so fun. Because guess what? You're going to start feeling things you may not want to feel. And that's only because it's showing you what you're afraid to feel. So that you can feel it and realize that you don't die and you're safe to feel it. We're safe to be in all of this. We're safe to be in all of life. We can smile through all of it. We're designed to. It's our natural state. We're designed to be in peace through all of it. It's our natural state. So why would I want to be in what you would label uncomfortable situations or face these thoughts that continue to come up? Because I know that it's the freest state I can be in, because I want to be able to stand in this world and never run from anything. I want to be able to feel anything that moves through me and never hide from it or try to change it. I don't ever want to fix anything that is arising in my life. I want to be able to walk outside and be in absolute awe over a spider or a beautiful bird. all of it. That's that's why. There's definitely been a handful of days where I say to myself, "Why am I continuing to commit, so quote unquote, commit to this?" But from my experience, you guys, every single day I am becoming or I am feeling more at peace than I ever have. And I have no words to describe it other than to use the words I have to describe it. So Thea or Thea, I don't know if you're still here, the one that asked that question, but it's a beautiful question. I'm really glad you asked it. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it was like, it's just so much easier to sort of let go of the practicing of awareness and the focus on awareness, because when you just go back to the kind of old way, it's just so much easier. Meaning that somehow it's you're just doing life and you're not caring, and whatever, it is what it is, and off you go, and you're not aware. And I don't know, there's something nice about not being aware. And I said, yes, but there is an opportunity that we all have to be our divine nature. Every single one of us has the opportunity in this lifetime to be our divine nature. The divine nature of you is that you are free no matter what, that you are at peace no matter what, that you are calm no matter what, that you are content no matter what, that you are not thought, that you are not emotion, that that whatever arising is perfect, that although you have preferences, it is what it is as it arises. The judgments go away. That there is a childlike awe that when you walk outside or when you're in your house that literally pummels you and stops you in your tracks. That you don't wait until you are dead to look and realize what a wonder this life is, that you find the wonder of this life now. That you recognize your divinity now, not when you're out of the body. What a waste. This is the lifetime that I believe that we are all being gifted the opportunity to awaken into our essence, consciousness, God, source, whatever you want to call it. It's now, it's this lifetime. And the commitment into that day after day after day isn't always going to be roses and high vibe and positive, because you have to be able to see the deep, deep illusion of this physical reality. And if there is a you that believes that it is in charge of this, you will stay in the illusion. And so you start to step deeper into this process of becoming who you have always been since the moment you opened your eyes as a newborn. You start to become that more and more. You let go of control. You stop trying to control you. I have to be this way. I have to be this way. I have to think this. I have to feel this. I need to have this thought. I need to have this frequency vibration. I'm in charge of changing this. I'm in charge of changing that. And you start to watch and be the observer. You start to remember that everything is absolutely perfect in every single moment. Otherwise, it would be a different way. You start to realize that in every single moment, there is an opportunity on one level to choose how you respond and be, to get curious of your thought, to be aware of judgment. It's 12:12. It's time to go. I can't believe I'm still on. Well, I don't know what I gave you guys in this episode, but hopefully it did whatever it was supposed to do. There's a part of me, there's a part of Lori that is responsible for how you respond, is responsible for how you feel, is responsible for how you experience these untangled episodes. Um, and that's a very interesting thought that I have, that I am responsible for how you feel. I am responsible for whether you get this or not. I am responsible for um, a shift that you have or don't have. And maybe I'll look at that question a little bit more today. So I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Um, oh, thanks for being here live. Um, if my teacher is waking up, my coffee break is done. I love that. I love it. Okay. Very relaxing. I love you guys. I'll see you next week for the next Untangled episode. Um, that's it. I have nothing else. I don't know what's going on in Kensington, Pennsylvania. I don't know. Find stillness a little bit more. I'm gonna go sit outside in the sun. Until next week. I love you guys.